Shabbat Shalom. Emma grew up at URJ Camp Azrui, where she developed a passion for Jewish music. Emma has been song leading professionally for the past 11 years at synagogues and camps throughout the country. With a BS in American Studies from Bard College, she worked full-time at Larchmont Temple from 2018 to 2022. She's now pursuing her master's degree in equestrian education. I highly recommend you ask her about this passion because it is truly inspirational. And we are grateful to have her as one of our full-time educators here at WRT's Jewish Learning Lab. In only 10 short days, although maybe they feel a little bit longer, she has been a member of our team and brought her passion, enthusiasm, and authenticity to her role. I am so grateful that all of us get a chance to hear words of Torah from her tonight. Emma.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you guys so much for inviting me to speak this Shabbat. Our Torah portion this week, Re'eh, describes a perplexing conundrum. God instructs the Jews to ascend 2 mountains, stating, "You shall place those blessing on Mount Gerizim and those cursing upon Mount Ebal." The obvious question is why? Why does God create space for curses in the first place? Isn't religion supposed to be about blessings? It's bad enough that bad things happen, but to give curses their own mountain to sing from is bizarre. 2 years ago, I was on my way to visit my parents for Pesach. I was on the highway when a car in front of me swerved and flipped over 3 times. I slammed on my brakes, screeched to a halt as I tried to comprehend what had just happened, looking at the car with shattered windows lying upside down before me. I immediately pulled out my phone and dialed 911. I described the scene, noting that a person was crawling out of the passenger window. The operator instructed me to pull over, wait until the ambulance could arrive, and call back if anything were to change. But I couldn't just sit there and do nothing. I pulled off to the side of the road and ran out towards the totaled car. An older woman was walking toward me in a daze, confused. I'd experienced other car accidents in my life, but despite my CPR training, I knew that I could not help this driver. I did, however, know that I could help the stunned woman while we waited for help to arrive. I ran up to her and asked her what her name was. I quickly learned that Carol and her husband had been driving to visit her 12 children for Easter that Sunday. She was 78 years old and already had a plethora of grandchildren eagerly awaiting their grandparents' arrival. "Where's my husband?" she asked, and began to turn toward the mangled car. I grabbed her hand and redirected her. "Where did you get those beautiful rings from?" I inquired. The best I could do was distract her from the nightmare behind her. There we stood, her back to the scene of her husband's death, as she recounted the story behind all of the gorgeous jewelry on her hands. It felt like ages before the ambulance arrived, and my heart broke for her as she instructed the EMTs to take her to whichever hospital her husband was going to. "He won't like being separated from me," Carol told them as they wheeled her into the back of the truck, not noticing the blue tarp that covered the scene of the accident and her husband's body. Death, specifically the unrequited yearning for those we have lost, is one of the many curses of this life. And yet, as I finished up with the coroner and police officers intent on getting a first hand of the accident, I felt blessed. Not that such a tragedy had happened, nor that there was more pain to be endured by Carol and her family in the coming hours, but that I had had the privilege of holding her hand through what was probably the worst day of her life, that I could continue to hold the hands of my loved ones that evening, and that I loved and was loved by so many people in this universe. One of my favorite Jewish poets, Rick Lupert, writes in his poem titled "There is Beauty in the Other," a poem for Parashat Re'eh, no matter which mountain you went up, you were sure to at least get a nice view. Imagine all the curses you could see from on top of the blessings mountain, And you could only imagine from the top of the cursing mountain that you are having a lot more fun than those other guys. You need the sacred and the profane to commingle in the valley between two mountains to make a straight path towards the promised land. Despite witnessing those tragedies, I still find joy, laughter, and beauty in every day. I take my work seriously and myself not so seriously. I goof off with teens and distract my coworkers so that we may remember to laugh at the little things, create joyful noise when singing with children, and passionately educate campers about horses every summer. Perhaps it is not despite, but more because of the lowest lows in my life that I have been able to encounter so much beauty in this world. The peaks and valleys between the two mountains has left me able to face the less appetizing parts of life with an opened heart, and more importantly, has allowed me to create and witness blessings in even the darkest corners of our world. I'm so lucky to have the opportunity to work with WRT this coming year. I'm excited to get to know this community, to sing and laugh with you, to cry during the hard times and be present with you, and to celebrate during the joyous ones. To my future teens, come through. I can't wait to get to know each and every one of you and walk with you towards the promised land between those two mountains. My door is always open. Shabbat Shalom.